But today we are going to be learning about internet basics. If you guys have questions along the way, don't hesitate to ask. We'll try to do our best to get any of those answered. I had mentioned it to some of the people before. If there's stuff that we don't go over, or if you have questions later, we do have something called Book a Librarian, where you can call us and set up an appointment, and one of us will work with you, and so we can answer any tech questions that you might have. Otherwise, if you do just have random questions, you can always ask us up at the front desk, and we can definitely do our best to answer those. But today, we'll mostly be going over how to use web browsers and search engines. We'll show you how to use those, how to navigate websites, and give you some tips and tricks to search those. We'll also have a little bit of practice for you guys. So the two main things, web browsers and search engines, what are they? So a web browser is a program that allows you to view websites. And you can navigate between them using different links. Some common ones you might recognize are Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer. On Apple devices, they usually use, is it Safari? Is that what that one's called?
Like this one is, so this one's Edge, that's Firefox, that's Chrome, and then that's Safari. So if you use Apple devices, this is probably what you're familiar with.
And so you'll probably recognize those if you've used those before. They're all just a little bit different. They're usually pretty much the same. You can use any of them, but like if you have a preference, you can always stick with that because usually they'll just be a little different, like how to close out of them or where different links might be on the page. So if you choose one, it's probably best to stick with that one just so you kind of can remember how to navigate that stuff.
Like if you have like a Gmail account or something like that, using Google Chrome is probably easiest because it integrates your Google account most easily. Like I really like, and I think that it's the same way with the other ones too, but like with Google Chrome, if I needed to check something because I couldn't remember if I had something saved for work, I can log into my Google profile, my work Google profile, and see the bookmarks and everything like that that I have saved in my work profile when I'm at home. Whereas that's what I see all the time on my computer here. Or if I need to check something like, oh, I think I saved that link in my personal one, I can log into my personal Google Chrome profile, and it goes by that browser. So if it's kind of like Talia said, if you get familiar with one, try to stick with it because then you're familiar with it rather than, oh, I'm going to use Edge for this and Chrome for this and that sort of thing. One of the difficult things with those is like if you have your own personal computer, making sure that like you have that set as your default browser if that's the one you want to use all the time. Because if you click on a hyperlink from like a Word document, it's going to open in whatever your default is. So depending on your computer, that might be Edge, it might be Firefox, it might be Chrome or Safari. So
I feel like the biggest one nowadays has been Google Chrome. That's the one a lot of people use, but whichever one you're most comfortable with. And so then search engines, that's the website that you use to either make searches or to view different websites. So big ones for that are Google, like that's where the term Google it came from. That's the big search engine. Another one is Bing that you might have heard of. And then Yahoo also does have its own search engine. There's lots of other ones too. Again, once you have one that you're comfortable with, it's good to kind of use that same one, especially like if you're wanting to keep track of like any of your search history or stuff like that. So like if you searched this certain recipe or something, you're wanting to find it again, then you can kind of go to your history and see what you've searched for before. So that can be really handy there as well.
And they also tend to remember like what you searched. So like for example, I never like go into the address bar and type www.yanktonswimteam.com or anything like that. I use Google to search, and anytime I search Yankton Swim Team, it is my first result because every time I have searched that, I have clicked on that link. And so Google is really good at remembering that and putting those results that you actually use closer to the top. So if you are using a search engine, if you use the same one, it starts to learn the stuff that you're looking for. And so you can find it easier. Like if I start typing, for example, like Sally's Baking Addiction is my first result because I use that all the time for baking stuff. So If you use the same one over and over again, you'll get more accurate search results based on what you're looking for because of what you've looked for in the past. It just kind of learns your behavior.
All right. So to open a web browser, the first big way, when you're on like a computer on your home screen, there will be shortcuts on there. So you've probably seen them like this before on your page. If you just double click on those, that'll open it up. Otherwise, if you don't already have it saved onto your desktop, you can go to your settings. So like down in the corner here with that Windows button, then you'd be able to open that up and search for whichever one you're looking for. So whether it be Google Chrome or Internet Explorer, or here you can see Microsoft Edge is right there. And so again, you would just double click on that, and that's what would open up that web browser.
And if you have them saved in your start, like on your toolbar, if you have, let's say you have a shortcut on your desktop, if you click it and drag it down to here, it'll also add the shortcut down here, which is really convenient. You just have to single click the ones down here, whereas the desktop ones you double click on to open them up.
And because those are nice, so then if you have like something open, you can see all of those still, and so you can kind of go between any of those different browsers there. So, all right. So once you've opened up a web browser, this bar up here is the address bar. That's where you would type in any web address. So like for the Yankton Community Library, that would be library.cityofyankton.org. And so that's how you would get to any website that you would want to go to. So you can see here, this is for the Salt Lake Public Library. So you would just type that in, hit enter, and that's going to take you to that website. You can also use that bar to search just by keyword. So let's say you don't know the website you're wanting to go to, or you're just wanting to browse through search results. You can type in any keywords that you're looking for. Let's say like you're looking for a recipe, or this example does movies in the park. You can type anything in there, and if you hit enter, that's going to show you a bunch of different results that you can search through.
And that's something that wasn't always the case. Like back when the internet started, you had to type a web address into that bar. You couldn't just type anything. And so now you can use it to search for things, which is really convenient because you don't have to go to the Google homepage to search on there. You can just type into the address bar in Google Chrome, and it will automatically do a Google search for it. It understands if you don't have like a web address there, that you're just doing a basic search.
So once you've opened up a website, there's going to be your main homepage here that's going to show you information about the browser. You can also have multiple tabs. So as you can see up here at the top, this tab is for the Salt Lake City Library, but if you want to be searching that, we'll also be searching something else. You can see there's a second tab over here for the Merriam-Webster. That's like a dictionary. And so you can be having multiple searches at the same time. So if you're wanting to go through between them, this plus button right here, that's what you would click to open up a new web browser. So that way you can have more than one. And then there's the little X right there. That's how you would close out of that if you weren't needing it anymore.
It's really nice. Like you can have a map open for like, let's say you're looking at restaurants and you want to see like how close they are to a hotel that you're staying in. You can have that map open and it'll show you a lot of restaurants, but if you want to stay there and not go away from that page, you can search those restaurants and pull up their menus in other tabs in that same browser. You don't have to, and then it's super easy because all you do is click on this one when you want it and then click back to that one when you're done. So it's a lot easier than like clicking down here to open up another web browser window. You can really easily go between things.
Especially if there's stuff that you're going to use on a regular basis, like your email or something, that might be a tab you want to keep up all the time because that's always something you're going to be going back into and checking. And so then you can open up a new tab to continue doing whatever other stuff you're wanting to do other than your email.
And it's really nice too, like bringing up email. If you have your email open as one of those tabs and you get a new email, a lot of times you'll notice like it puts a little dot next to it to indicate that, hey, you got a new email. while you're browsing these other pages, and you can see that at a glance without having to click back to it all the time.
All right. So here, right in front of the website, you can see there's 2 different arrows. So that's the forward and backward arrow. So let's say you go to a website and you realize, oh, I need to go back to the page I was at before. If you hit that first arrow, that's going to take you back. And then again, if you need to go forward to the one you were at before you hit that back arrow, you'd hit that forward arrow. So kind of being able to go back and forth if you mistyped something, or you're like, I know I just saw that, what was it? Let me go back and look for that. That's a really good way to go back and forth between different searches or things you're doing within a website. We also have this X button. So let's say you go to a website and it's just taking forever to load. You're just sitting there and it's just not getting anywhere. If you hit that X, that's going to stop it from loading. So then you could restart it. So that way that might make it go
I always think
faster.
I'm doing something wrong when that happens. That's just,
Sometimes things are
Nature of
just
the
slow.
beast. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It could be your internet. It could be the website. Sometimes things just don't load. And so you hit that X, it's going to stop it from loading, and then you can try reloading it again. Or if you accidentally typed in the wrong website and you're like, oh, nope, that's not where I want to go, you can hit that X quick so then it doesn't actually pull that up.
But like if you went to the wrong page, or if, you're trying to get there and it just keeps spinning and spinning, it might be that there's really high web traffic. Like let's say you're trying to go to a website and they have a huge sale going on and you think, oh, why won't this page load? You can always try stopping it and then restart, like refreshing it to restart it again. But sometimes it's web traffic, sometimes it's your home internet. Sometimes it's something like, oh, that website security certificate expired. So like it's taking longer to load because the web page is telling like the search engine that, hey, this website isn't secure anymore or something like that. So it really just depends. There's tons of reasons why it might not load. And it might be the wrong page altogether. Like maybe you ended up clicking on an ad when that wasn't what you wanted to click on. So.
And once your web page has loaded, there'll be this little circular arrow, and that's to refresh. So like if you're in your email and you know someone just said they sent you an email and you're not seeing it, you can hit that refresh button. That's what's going to reload that page so you can see and make sure that whatever information you're looking for is up to date. Let's see. So this home button, that's going to bring you to the home page of your web browser. So like if you're using Google Chrome, usually it'll have google.com as that home page. You can also go into your settings and change your home page. Like if you wanted to have like MSN or your email or something as your home page. So that way, anytime you open up that browser, it's automatically going to go to that page. That's just kind of a nice way to kind of save that. So especially like I like having Google as my home page because I'm always just Googling everything. That's how I find stuff. And so whenever I hit my home button, it's going to take me straight to Google. And so it kind of brings you back to a fresh start if you're needing to start all over.
And the nice thing about that too, like I use Google all the time as well. And like if there are websites that you go to frequently, Google will put them below the search bar. So like we use Canva a lot at work because that's where we make posters and advertising for our programs. So Canva is one of the things that pops up. So rather than necessarily having to type it or search it, it's right there because Google knows that I've gone there like 6 times a day. So it's right there, or Amazon or something like that. Those websites that it figures out you're going to frequently, a lot of times it'll just put them below the search bar. And that's why Google is really convenient as a homepage too, because, oh, I need to go to Amazon, but I don't want Amazon to be my homepage because I don't always want to go to Amazon, but it'll show up on my homepage anyway. So.
And then another thing to do if there's websites that you go to frequently or you want to save something to find it later is using either bookmarks or favorites. Depending on which browser you use, some call it bookmarks, some call it favorites, but they're the same thing. It's just highlighting something so that way you can find it again later.
And you get to that by clicking those, like you can click those 3 dots to get to this menu. Like everything that's in this menu you get to by clicking, like it's usually 3 dots or 3 lines, something up in that top right corner to give you, and sometimes it's like a little gear because it's settings. But it'll take you to this list so you can like click bookmarks, but she'll show you the other way that you can bookmark something too.
Because yeah, then also in this website, you can see there's this star button here. If you click that star, that's gonna automatically make that one of your favorites. And so those show up right here. So you can see there's this bar. That's where any of your bookmarks will show up. And so then it's just an easy way for you to find those and navigate to them very quickly. So you won't have to like type in like yahoo.com or something. You would just be able to click it and it's going to take you straight there. I like it for, again, like if you're looking for recipes, you can save a bunch of recipes in there, or just different things that you're going to go to on a regular basis, just to make that a little bit easier for you.
And the really nice thing, like in Google Chrome, you have the option. So this is technically called like a bookmark bar that goes right here underneath your address spot, but that's a bookmark bar. And sometimes it'll just be like an individual page. Like you can see that these have like a little folder symbol in front of them. So they created in their bookmarks a folder for recipes. I have a folder for daily use. Like these are all the websites that I use on a daily basis. So I put all of those in one place. But you can, if you have, let's say you only have 5 things bookmarked and that's all you want bookmarked, you don't necessarily need to put them in folders because those will fit across the top. But if you have, I want to save, 30, 40 recipes because I really like them and I want to try them sometime, creating a recipe folder is a much better way to do that, because otherwise you're going to have all these recipes bookmarked across the top and then there will be an arrow at the end and then all the other ones will pop up. But if you have it in a folder, it's a lot easier to click the folder and then it just drops down and you can go, what was that cherry pie recipe that I used? And then you can click on that one again. So folders are really, really nice for bookmarks. But if there's something that you use, like I use this website every single day, like we use Tiny URL. So we can create a URL for an event that's really easy for people to remember. So I just have that in my bookmark bar. It's not in any folder because if I'm using it, I want to be able to click it right away. So I just have that as an individual link, but you can also put things in folders if you have a lot of things that you want to bookmark, whether it's craft ideas or pictures that you like, things like that. You can save all of those things in your bookmarks.
And what's a URL?
The address.
So that's like this up here in that search bar.
Yep, that's a URL.
So like the www.whatever.com, that's a URL.
Is Google and Google Chrome the same thing?
So Google Chrome is the web browser. So that's what you go to get onto the internet, where Google is then what you would go to search for stuff. So they're all owned by the same company. It's just that one is the access to the internet, where the other one is what you use to search within the internet. So like one's like the bigger and one's the smaller within it.
And if you don't change the default homepage for Google Chrome, like the browser Google Chrome, Google is your default homepage. And so when you open Chrome, Google is what's there, because they obviously want you to use their search engine. Yeah.
So talking about search engines, so again, Google is a search engine. Some other ones are Microsoft Edge, Mozilla Firefox, and then we had mentioned before with Apple devices, they use Safari. And so again, these are what you use to search within the web. So like this one is Google. So if you were to go to google.com, this is what's going to show up. In the center of the page, that's going to be your search bar. So that's where you would go to type in whatever it is you're searching for, with like keywords or any search terms like that. Once you start typing something in, Google is going to give you recommendations. It's going to want to help make your search a little easier. So you can see here they started by typing Chicago landmarks, and a whole bunch of other things pop up here, whether you're looking for a map or you're looking for near me, to visit, pictures. So it's going to give you a whole bunch of different options to choose from. If you look and you're like, oh, yes, I need the Chicago landmarks map. If you click on that, that's going to take you there. Otherwise, you can just continue typing whatever it was you're searching for. Once you hit enter, it's going to do that search for you. So then once we would hit enter, it's going to list all of your results here. So you can see it's showing you a bunch of different results here, like the Art Museum or the Field Museum or the Navy Pier. It's also going to give you some information here about Chicago. You can see it lists that there is 61 million results. So there's lots of things to navigate through. Your search result is usually going to try to pull up the things that are most relevant and have those at top to make your search easier. But there'll be lots of things to go through. So yeah, your results are the lists that match your search terms. So when you have links on the website there, any of these blue words, those are going to be links to go somewhere else. So you can see this City of Chicago. If you click on that, that's going to take you to the City of Chicago's website. Down here, you can see there's a place to pay for like parking tickets or finance if you're looking for a job. So any of these will take you to those separate websites. So if you see, oh, I absolutely need to go pay my ticket, you just click on that and it's going to take you to that link of where you need to go. So any of those blue words.
And if you see that there are several things in the search results that you want, like, oh, I want a map to this. Oh, I also want the page for the art museum. I also want this. Instead of clicking on the link, you can right click on the link and you can click the option to open it in a new tab. And then it'll just pop up in a new tab across the top and you still have your search results window in a separate tab. So you can click back over to it and open up different things if you don't want to leave your search results. That's something I frequently do. Like if I'm looking for activities for something or crafts for something, I'll open up like 6 or 7 different tabs with results that seemed relevant to what I wanted. And then I can go and look in each of those. And if I go, well, I don't want any of those things, my search results are still there and I already know what I looked at. So using a new tab, right-clicking and opening something in a new tab from search results is really nice. If you think this might be what I want, but I'm not sure, you also always have the option of hitting back to go back to that search page. But the problem with that is if you wanted the page that you opened, but you also want something else on your search results page, you're going to be bouncing around a lot. Whereas if you just go, okay, I think I want these 3 things, and you open them all in new tabs, then you have all 3 of those pages open together and you're not trying to navigate back and forth. So that's really nice.
It's also, if you're using the same, like if you're on your computer every day and you're searching on the same device, it's going to save the things that you've gone to before. So you can see that these links are all blue, but if we would have gone to the City of Chicago website before, the link is going to turn purple. So it's going to show you the ones that you have visited before. So like, let's say you searched like chocolate cake recipe and you're like, which one was it? You can kind of look for the link that's purple and you know that's one that I have visited before. And so you'll know that's probably the recipe that you ended up using. So that's a good way to find.
I've done that frequently for the brownie recipes that I look at.
Yeah, so you
Which
know.
one was that really good
Okay,
one?
so
I didn't bookmark it.
So I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole then, because Pinterest is my very best friend when it comes to, that's just my cookbook. Pinterest does not do that, because they'll, you know how they'll show.
It shows you like all the things that you've pinned, not
Right.
necessarily like you went to this one and used it or whatever.
Because yeah, you have to like manually save stuff in
I don't pin them until I
Pinterest.
cook, till I make them.
Yep, and so then it makes it hard to
then
go
I
back.
go back to find that, I'm like, what the heck?
Which fudgy brownie recipe was it?
Well, and with Pinterest, you can make different folders. So you could make a to make folder versus we could be something we look into.
I'm not a Pinterest person, so
I
would
like
not be the one to
Pinterest.
use that. I'm more Google other stuff, but
See, for me, I use Pinterest for all my
Yeah,
recipes
that's
too.
right.
I like Pinterest, yeah.
Everything.
I use the same websites all the time for recipes, so I just know which ones they are.
How do you know when to use the right click versus?
If you ever accidentally, so right click will essentially bring up a menu. Left click will follow the link. Whatever you're clicking on, it's gonna follow that link. Right click will bring up a menu. Sometimes it'll ask things like, you can open it in a new browser. You can open something in a new tab. You can open something, or you can copy the link. Like it'll give you the option to like copy the link to this page or whatever. So you can copy and paste it into a Word document or something if you needed it. But it gives you a lot of different options when you right click. The one I use 90% of the time is open in a new tab.
So yeah,
And the new tab, once again, is that it's up on the.
Yep.
yep,
And then.
And you can just click
And I
between
have
the
this
tabs.
tab and I can go between.
yep.
And then when I'm finished with that, I'm just gonna close out my tabs.
Yeah, and so there's also always the option to like open it in a new window. So then I have 2 Google Chromes open at the same time, which can kind of get
So
confusing.
you mean breaking up that page?
Well, kind of, because you can split it, so you can minimize something so that it's not the full screen, and you can drag it so you have 2 screens to kind of look at, which is a little bit complicated, but if I'm using something like, we have a contrast checker, like to make sure that our posters and advertising have high readability based on the colors on them. I don't want the contrast checker in a different tab because I need 2 things open at the same time so that I can check the colors that are on the page. So then I have 2 different browser windows open essentially.
Oh.
So depending on what you're doing, most of the time having multiple tabs open is great, but if you want to look at 2 things at the same time, then you probably want to open something in a new window. And then you can have 2 windows going at the same time where you can kind of look at both things as opposed to clicking back and forth.
I usually will have like one browser open for personal use where I could have another one open for like work stuff. So that way I can kind of keep those things separate too. So if you're not wanting everything, 'cause especially like if I'm not clocked in, I shouldn't be looking at my work stuff. So keeping that kind of on a separate browser in the
So
background.
what does the left one do again? The left one
Follows the link.
follows the link, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Just that regular click that you're used to doing, that'll follow the link. And if you ever are clicking and you're like, why isn't it following it, but a menu keeps popping up, you must be right clicking.
Okay.
Because that's something that people run into frequently. They're like, how come I can't go to this web page? And especially on laptops, if you click on the right side of the mouse pad, it's going to right click. If you click on the left side of the mouse pad, it's going to left click. So.
I accidentally do that all the time.
Yep.
All right. So once you've scrolled to the bottom of your searches, they're going to show you some related searches. So like, let's say you weren't able to find what you were looking for on that first page. You can look through some of these different related searches, and maybe what you were really wanting to search for was Chicago Landmarks Building. So if you click on that, then that's going to give you an additional search. So another way that Google is trying to make your searches easier for you, trying to give you some recommended topics to make your search bring you what you're looking for. So that's always a good place to check. And also, if there wasn't anything on that first page, like I said, there was like 71 million results. So there's going to be a whole bunch of pages you can go through. So if it wasn't on the first page, you can always click to the second, third, fourth, whichever page on. Again, usually that first page is going to have those most relevant search results, but you're not always going to find things right away on that first page. So sometimes going to those second and third pages will give you some more results there to look through.
Yeah, and if you're like looking at the same pages frequently and you're thinking like, well, I'm still looking for this thing, but I want to look at a different website that I haven't looked at before, you might have to go to page 2 or page 3 because the more you go to the same websites, the more those are going to show up on that first page of search results.
Also, on your first page of results, you're going to get some ads. So people will pay Google to have their results show up first because they want you to click on their websites. And that's not bad. You can definitely click on those. It's just good to recognize that those are there up front because they were paid for, not because they're most relevant. So you can see, like if we're looking for landmarks and tourist attractions is popping up, that might be what you were looking for, but it might also not be what you're looking for. So just being aware that if it says ad in front of it, it's because it was paid to be there.
Yeah.
Who knew?
And a lot of times too, that those will like, so if you're searching for a hotel, I guarantee your first results are going to be ads, and they're not going to be the hotel that you're searching for. They're going to be a like hotel browser searcher where it's a travel website and it's gonna give
Like
you tons of
Travelocity
hotel, yeah,
or-
it's gonna give you tons of hotel results and things like that. Anytime I'm searching for a hotel, I try to either type the direct address into the address bar and then I search on my hotel browser webpage for the city I'm looking for, or I scroll down to make sure I get past all of the ads and I look at this little web address here, because like if I use IHG hotels, I'm gonna look for the web address that says IHG hotels. I'm not going to click on these other ones that, nope, that's not what I want. It's something else. It's like hotels.com or something like that, because they are paying to make sure their stuff is at the top because they want you to book through those. So most of the time, those ad results are going to be something that's paid for, whether it's a touring company or whatever that you can book a tour through Chicago with or something like that. They're generally going to be things that cost money.
Yeah, so if you're not looking to buy something, those aren't necessarily links you'll be wanting to click on. So once you have your search results, also there is a way to narrow down by the format. So automatically you're going to see all of your results, but let's say you're wanting to see the map of Chicago and see where these are located. If you click on that map button, that's going to take you to a visual map so you can see and navigate where things are at. There's also images. So if you're just wanting to look at pictures, like let's say you are searching for like Van Gogh and you want to see the kind of artwork he has created. If you click on images, it's going to show you all the picture results that are there. There's also a news tab, so that's great if you're looking for like news articles or different things with current events. There's shopping, so let's say you typed in shoes and you're wanting to see different websites with results for that. That's a good thing. And then there's more, like I think videos is under there. There's a whole bunch of different ways to view that. And so again, that's a really great way to narrow down whether you're specifically just looking for images or specifically just wanting to look at the maps. Depending on what your results are that you're looking for, it's good to click up there and narrow those down.
And probably out of all of those different ones, I would say one of the most frequently used ones is images. As a mom, my kid will be talking about some new cartoon character and I don't know who the heck it is. And I can go and I can search images and pull up a picture of what it is that my kid is talking about so I can see what it is. So images is really, really nice for that. There's also a way to search images, like if you have a picture downloaded on your computer and it's, let's say, an attraction that you've been to and you can't remember what city it was in, you can upload that picture to search images and do a reverse image search, and then it'll pull up similar pictures and you can figure out like where it was located.
So once you click on images, this is kind of the results it's going to give you. Again, it's just going to be a whole bunch of different pictures there. There is different prompts up here. Let's say you're specifically looking for landmarks downtown or like the bean, that's what's showing up the most here. But so those are, again, different ways that you can narrow down those results. There'll be a whole bunch of pictures that you want to go through there. If you're wanting to get back to that main page though, where all of those search results are, just always click that all button. That's going to bring you back to all the results that are showing up.
It's also just really nice that the image results, it shows you the visual instead of here's a link to a bunch of websites that have that image on it, that you actually are searching by what it looks like. So you can scroll through those to see, and it can take you to the web page where it is and that sort of thing. But it's just a nice visual way to search for something.
And all of these pictures, if you click on them, it is going to take you to a website. So you can see like with this one, it says TripAdvisor down here. So you know if you click on this, it's going to take you to that website. Or like this one says top things to do in Chicago. So if you see that picture and you're like, oh, I want to see what those top things to do are, you can just click on that picture and it's going to take you to that website that has that picture
Yeah,
on
technically it's 2 clicks to get to the website, but like you click on it once and it's gonna enlarge the image so that you can see it bigger. So you can make sure that yes, that's what you want to go to. And then there's a button there that says like view this web page. And then you can click on that and it'll take you to the actual page. But when you click on it from the image search, the first thing it does is make it bigger to make sure that that's what you were looking for.
All right, so we're gonna do a couple activities here to see what you've learned. So can you identify where to enter your search terms when searching Google? So where on this page would you put your search terms?
On that top circular,
Yeah, right
Yeah.
at the beginning, we write
yeah, where it says Chicago, something.
Yes.
One thing I'll point out too, just because, I mean, this is pretty basic, but if you're somebody who, like, maybe you struggle with speech or sorry, you don't struggle with speech, you struggle with vision a little bit, and so typing things in is a little bit harder. Maybe your hands are sore, and so you don't like to do a lot of typing. That little microphone there, you can actually search by voice. So if you have a microphone in your laptop or your home computer or something like that, you can click that and search Chicago landmarks, and it's going to put it in that bar and search for it. And if you have a phone, that feature also exists on your phone, that you can hit the little microphone and you can say it instead of typing it in.
All right, next one. Can you identify where the ad appears?
Right at the top, anywhere where it says ad.
Yep.
Yep.
Look for that little black ad.
It's gonna tell you.
It has to tell you, like legally, they have to tell you that it's an advertisement. So that's why there's that teeny little text that says ad next to it.
Try to make it not so apparent, but it's good to keep your eye out for that. So there are two different ways to get to a map. What are they?
Click on the word maps.
Yep, right there.
And
So the other one, you can see there's a picture of this map right here. If you click on that, that would also take you to the map.
And anytime you Google search for something that's a location, that map is automatically going to be a search result on the side.
Because it assumes that that's what you're
Yeah.
looking for. So yeah, click either one, either up on that bar up here or the image of the map. So which link will take you to the image results?
the word image.
It says image.
Yep. Yep, that word image right up there on that bar. All right, and so then a couple tips and tricks here. So always review the search result list before clicking a link. You want to make sure that what you're clicking on is what you're looking for. Check multiple pages when using a new keyword. Again, we showed that there is a ton of pages, and so what you're looking for might not be on that first page. So it's always good if you don't find it right away to keep searching through those pages. Also using the also try or searches related to. Those browsers are going to give you all those hints of different things that you might be searching for. It's always great to use those because they're there to help you. And again, if you can't find a web page, try using the recommended search feature available on most search page results. So that was that thing at the very bottom. If you weren't able to find what you're looking for, definitely review those different links because those might be able to narrow down your searches a little bit easier. So once you have a website that you've opened up, there's a few different ways to navigate it. So your website is a collection of web pages that provide information about a particular business, group, organization, or person. So in this case, we're on the Salt Lake Public Library website, and so that's where you can find any information about that library.
And one of the things that people frequently confuse is like a website and a web page are technically two different things. A website is a place that you're going to go to that will take you to multiple other web pages that belong to that organization. So like, for example, the City of Yankton is a website, but it contains pages for all of the different city organizations. And so a website is always going to have a lot of different things for you to click and look at and things like that. Whereas a singular web page, you're going there and that's the only information. You're not clicking to go to other places on that same one. You could have a web page that has links to other web pages, But your website, that's where you're going to have tons of different things that you could look at. Basically, everything here is a link. There's catalog, events, website, my SLCPL, explore, virtual events, for you, community, all of those things are links. So this is a website.
And the links are
The
pages,
links-
another word. for
Yes, the
page.
links take you to
The
pages. Yep.
So most websites, since they do have all those different links, they're going to have a navigation menu. And so that's a way to kind of see those main places that you can go within that website. Like if you've ever been on our library website, there'll be a place to look at your account, to look at our calendar of events, to look at the different policies that we might have. And so it's going to have that menu bar for you to make it easier to navigate within that website. So like if you're at this website and you want to know about it, you'd click that about link and that's going to take you there. So it's always a good place to check first when you've opened a website is for that menu bar. So once you've clicked on one of those menu bars, so like here, they clicked on explore. So you can see there's options for virtual events, art exhibits, virtual meeting rooms. So these menus are going to bring up even more information to help you narrow down where it is you're wanting to go. Most websites also have a search bar on it. So that's a way to search within that website. So unlike Google, where if you search in Google, that's going to show you every website that exists. This is only going to show you search results within this specific web page. So anything that you'd want to know about this specific library.
And most like recipe websites have a search feature. So if there's like, I'm just gonna use the one that I use all the time. So like Sally's Baking Addiction, that's my favorite place to look for like baking recipes. So if I know I've made chocolate cake from that recipe and I love it and it's really good and I think, I wonder what they have for a vanilla cake recipe, I can search on that page for vanilla cake recipes and it's going to bring up only results that are on that website that I know I have liked other things from. So if you're somebody who uses the internet to search recipes, most of the time you can probably search on that page where, oh, I got that great mac and cheese recipe from here. I wonder if they have a recipe for potato salad or something like that. So you can search on that website for other recipes as well. If you know that you found a place that you tend to like the recipes from, you can try searching, see if they have recipes for some of the other things you're looking to make.
Does Sally have great pies? Because I have to make 4 of them.
Ooh,
I'm not sure, because I just kind of make up my pie recipes.
I love pie.
I love pie too. I used to have pie Thanksgiving with my homeroom kids when I taught. It was the best thing ever. We just ate pie.
Also, when you're on the main web page, it's usually going to give you information about whatever that website is. So you can see here for the Salt Lake City Library, here it's going to give you some different information about the library and what they are looking for. So examples are a story you want to read, a video you want to watch, a recipe you want to bake. So that main web page, it's usually going to be the information that you're probably looking for. It's giving information about the site and about what they have.
It also might be highlighting, like if it's a recipe website, it might highlight a turkey recipe when it's close to Thanksgiving, or like some other recipe for a different holiday if it's close to that holiday.
Usually the most important stuff is going to be on that main page. So the footer, that's going to be when you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's going to be a list of links down here. This is usually going to be different information about that specific website. So like here you see contact us. So let's say you're on that recipe website and you want to shoot an email to that person to be like, I looked everywhere and I can't find a pecan pie recipe. Do you have one, or could you make one? Or anytime you're wanting to find any sort of contact information, that's usually going to be down there. You can also see there's like a Facebook logo and a Twitter logo. Usually down here, that's also where you could find any social media that that website is using. So if you want to follow them on any of those social media. Otherwise, just other general information. So you can see here they have their locations and hours. So any specific information about the site that you might need, it's always good to double check that header or that footer. And again, that's at the very bottom of the page once
Yeah.
you've scrolled all the way down.
It's usually not very big. It's usually pretty small, and you can see like everything there is gray. It tends to be lighter color than the rest of the web page. They're not really trying to draw you to that information. They want you to use the other information on the page. But like if you're going to a website for, let's say, like a device that you have that broke and you can't remember how you're supposed to contact them, a lot of times you can find that contact us information down at the bottom so that you can contact them and ask about a replacement or whatever, that sort of information.
Sidebar navigation. Some websites, especially when you're searching between different things, it's going to have a sidebar navigation. And so that's going to help you narrow down some of your search results. So here, like they're searching events, so you can narrow down the dates that you're looking for. With like recipe ones, they'll usually have like types, like it might have a pie category and a cake category, different stuff like that. And so anytime it's giving you search results to narrow down, there's going to be that sidebar menu to help you narrow those down.
Yeah, sometimes it'll have like main dishes, desserts, side dishes, like bread and stuff like that. So sometimes it breaks it down on that side menu where you can click on those individual things. On a lot of shopping websites, they have that side menu. So like you're searching, I'm just gonna use the Children's Place, for example. So I can go and use that side menu and narrow it down by boys, because I don't need girls, those are all boys. And then I can pick the sizes that they wear, and if I want pants or tops or coats or whatever, so you can narrow things down in that side menu most of the time.
Yeah, so just a great way to narrow those search results down, especially if you're searching something really broad, then you can make things easier for you to search through.
It's not very fun to find something that you know your kid would love and then realize it's not the right size.
So some safety tips here. Secure websites usually begin with that HTTPS with a colon and 2 dashes. If there is not an S there, that is not a secure website. That S means secure. So you want to make sure you're looking for that. Otherwise, also you can see here, there is that lock notification. That also means that it is a secure website. So if looking for either one of those or both of those, that'll show that that's a secure website. And secure websites are important because if it's not secure and you're putting in like an email or password, that can get hacked. That's where those sites can take your information. And so you want to be aware of that. Most websites are going to be safe, especially like the main ones you use. But it's always just a good idea to keep your eye out on that to make sure that's a safe website you're going to.
And a lot of web browsers will warn you before the page loads and say, are you sure you want to proceed? This is not a secure website. And it just really depends on the browser. I know that Google has said that, like, oh, I'll think I'm going to whatever website and I'll click on it. And then it goes to load and I'm like, wait, that wasn't the website that I wanted, but it says, are you sure you want to go here? This is not a secure page. So a lot of times that warning will come up, but also if you click on it and then you look at the top and you see that it doesn't have that little lock or it doesn't have that S, that it might be a website that's spoofing another website, that it's trying to look like Kohl's.com or something like that, but it's not actually that website. So a lot of times those won't have that secure notification on them.
Also, people will create fake URLs. So when you just like quickly look at it, it'll look like it's right. But when you're looking at it, you'll want to look to make sure it's not missing letters or having typos or different grammatical errors. That's another good way to know that it's a fake website. So like let's say it's Google and it has 3 O's. You know that's not the real Google since there's only 2 O's. So kind of making sure that those things are spelled right and that it's the correct website that you are looking for. Also looking at your security settings. When you're in your browser, you can set your preferences of how secure you want stuff to be, whether you want it to, again, like she was saying, how it'll usually pop up a thing saying, are you sure you want to proceed? Whether you want to have those kind of alerts to let you know, like, oh, this is kind of sketchy, maybe I don't want to continue. Just always good to check with those, especially anytime you're going to be putting in any personal information or credit card information, making purchases. You just want to make sure that that information you're putting in there is going to a safe source that's not going to get brought somewhere that you don't want it to be. Otherwise, that is the main stuff we're going over today. If you guys have specific questions, definitely let us know. We can try to help you with that. Again, if there's something that you think of later, we had talked about that book a librarian thing. You can always call and set that up or just stop in if you have specific questions. If you're ever using our computers here too, we can always help you with that too. So I'm sure there's things that you'll think of as soon as you leave. And so you can definitely let us know. And that's something